So tell me how you went from Brooke to now at Pink Xbox Live, right? Pink with
Right.
two number ones in replace of I with 20,000 followers, partnered streamer, and all the other
Right.
stuff. You can pick it up wherever you want to start.
So I started like way, way, way back when I first started gaming. It was just like me as a kid playing on a Nintendo 64. And that's pretty much where it started. And then from there, like you went, someone asked, how do I become a tester? That's literally my mom did that. She was like, how do you become a tester? My kid is really good at Halo. Like, I got to get her into something. So, what happened was I went to Austin, Texas, and I tested Halo 2. First, before that, I had to beat the developers of Halo. And I did that. Then I finally got the opportunity to go to Austin, Texas. From there, that's where I got to test Halo 2 DLCs with the number one Quake player in the world, Fatality X at the time. I also got to test with Danger Doll and the twins of PMS, which was Athena and the other twin. So I did that. And then from there, I started training the WCG Ultimate Gamers on Sci-Fi Channel. So once I stopped doing the testing for Bungie, I pretty much just went over like a leap. And I was like, well, now what we're going to do is we're going to start competing a lot and finding people to train since I'm so good. At that rate, I was testing the WCG Ultimate Gamers on Sci-Fi Channel, like Zulfar321, and Applesauce was his gamer tag. And he actually won the entire thing. And then Prodigy X, who is another partnered streamer here who is on Sci-Fi Channel, really good close friend of mine. And that was really cool. So they actually ended up going and competing in a Halo 3 MLG tournament and won. So that was really cool. And from there, I tested Battlefield 1943. And at this point, it was just all word of mouth. Like, look at this pink chick. At the time, my name was Pink Power Ranger. That's how a lot of people know me, was as Pink Power Ranger. So I went from the little pink with the pink Power Ranger belt buckle to trading and testing video games to Halo 2 to Battlefield 1943, Medal of Honor, and then back to testing again and training more people. And then from there, I was like, well, I really want to get into Guitar Hero. So a lot of you guys have seen me on Rock Band at Night. So I competed with Star Slayer. So I don't know if you guys know who Star Slayer is, but she is like top 5 in Guinness Book of World Records of Guitar Hero Hyperspeed Expert ×2. So I played a lot with her, and that was great. And then, oh Lord, I've done so much stuff. And then from there,
what makes a great video game tester? I mean, what is it? Is it a networking thing? Is it
it's
obviously
really
high
like
skill at the game? What is it?
No, it's really just like you would think that testing a video game is super fun and you would want to do it. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to do when I grow up. You don't do that. You don't,
Yeah.
because it sucks. It's like taking like this can is a grunt in Halo 2.
Yeah.
Now, this is another grunt. I just drank this one. This I just don't happen to
It's a
have
lightweight grunt.
cups. So they look somewhat similar. Now, if this one was like a magenta and this was like a pinkish purple, but not called magenta, they look too close similar.
Okay.
You got to fix that. So you have to pay attention to everything in the game.
So
right?
there's really no enjoyment of the game.
There is
like
no
you're not
enjoyment.
immersing yourself in the game.
No.
It's more so like from a technical standpoint.
Right.
Like you're a critic, right? You're way more of a critic
you have
than you are
to judge
anything.
the game like severely. So you have to make sure this looks nothing like this, because if your wife says, hey, can you go to the store and get me that peace sign can that is like peach?
Right.
Okay, you would get the peach one, not the raspberry. So
Yeah.
that would make sense. And so without tricking players, you need to make everything look different. So like that's how super bounces came into the play. So you crouch underneath things, and then you would run around the map and jump up and land on one specific spot. If you did not land on that specific spot, then you were not jumping out of the map to get out. Um, and that's how super bounces happened, and we kept them in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, so like everything, you would run into rocks, you would shoot, you would throw nades over
Right.
and
Right.
over and over again. And if they went under the map or they fell through a glitch, then that needs to be documented and sent back to the developers. So no, at the age of 12, it was not fun. But
You were 12
looking,
years old.
I was 12 years old.
And how many
So
hours of video game testing were you logging at 12 years old?
so I actually ended up dropping out of school at
Okay.
14 because I was
Okay.
doing so much testing.
Yeah.
So it was probably about 12 plus hours a day I was
Yeah.
testing. But I ended up having to drop out during battlefield testing because they wanted me to complete all the camos, all the challenges, unlock all the achievements, and do everything within the game. And they gave me 30 days. So I was
Wow.
already at my max limit of having days out of school. So I was in Texas at the time, and I actually had to drop
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
to be a tester.
What was kind of the big picture thought there for you at the age of 14 years old? I mean, you had to have some perspective. I'm 14 years old. I'm gonna drop out of school and I'm gonna
Yeah.
video game test. Was there a conversation of like, to what end are we pursuing here?
No, my parents weren't like my mom, she was just not that bright. So like
Yeah.
unfortunately
Okay.
so
Okay.
unfortunately it was like, well, you're making money now. Do
Mm,
your thing. And then like I did that, and then it came up to a point where I was like, well, I need to go back to school. Like I'm not streaming anymore. I got done testing. I started competing and making a lot of money competing, but that
okay.
only gets you so far when you have to pay to
Sure.
travel.
Sure.
So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
a $10,000 tournament is cool, but when you're like 16 and you want to
Yeah.
buy clothes and more
Yeah.
games and
Yeah.
everything else, it's like
And it feels like that
$10,000 is
10K is just
nothing.
going to keep rolling in, right? We don't really have
Uh-huh.
any concept of that
Right.
stream maybe shutting down a time or two, right?
Right. So then that's when I started streaming on Twitch for a little bit. And from there, it was like I would do charity events where I sent a little girl with stage 4 brain cancer to
Wow.
Disney for a week. And we got her a treehouse and a puppy. And she had a lot of fun. And so I would just do like little small like charity events here and there.
Yeah.
And then I stopped streaming on Twitch because I did not have the assets. Still don't.
Okay.
So here we are on
We're
Mixer,
gonna get
fast
there.
forward a bunch of years. And um it's just been crazy from like testing and TV shows, Jack. TV show. So
TV shows.
I was on Jack of All Games TV show
Okay.
with Zulfar 321 from Sci-Fi Channel. And very embarrassing. Kill is probably laughing right now because
Killa
I've
didn't
told
disclose
myself,
this beforehand.
I know I'm never showing anybody this video. Like GG's if you can find it, because I'm not telling anybody. It's so embarrassing.
There are so many Google searches being
There's
run.
so many.
The
Oh
Google
yeah.
Analytics are currently having the tops blown off right now
Good luck.
around
It
these
is
keywords.
horrible. So yeah, there was that from magazines. I've been in Game Informer twice.
Okay.
So that was
I mean, so
fun.
you've always been about as young of an age as one could imagine, in and out of not just the streaming industry, but like the video game industry,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How did that, so we tested, we did some things in the media,
Mhm.
right? How did that take me forward from there?
So once I stopped doing like magazines, so like Game Informer, then I went to like somewhat smaller interviews. Like I was the Women of Gaming for Patrick Scott Patterson, who was a WWE fighter. So I was on his thing too.
Yeah.
And then I was on Miss Maximum. Okay, now that sounds really bad.
Don't Google
there
that.
was don't Google that one. There was like a Gaming Maximum magazine. Oh yeah.
Don't, I told you not to look at the
We're
chat. I
not gonna
told you
talk
it's
about
only going to get
just
distracting. I literally just had to turn mine off too, because
we're
it's
gonna
just going to get to be too distracting.
we're gonna skip that one.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I ended up dropping off the radar for a little bit. Why? Because I ended up getting pregnant at a video game convention. So
Hey.
So yeah, we ended up that happened. And then fast forward a little bit. Then I started
You keep
true.
looking at the chat.
I know. And then from there, I kind of just dropped off the radar. And then I did some voiceovers for a game that is supposed to be launching.
Okay.
And that's all I can say. I'm a Cortana in a video game that's going to be coming out in 2021. So
Okay.
that's been on the
There are
low. I haven't said that to
so many
anybody.
teasers in like the first
I
10
know.
minutes of this conversation.
So I haven't told anybody that. I've been working on that game for about 6 months now.
Okay.
6 months.
Wow.
So Kill is actually the only one who knows about it. And yeah, so I've been doing that where I send POVs into war and I make fun of them when they die. So that's going to be a really cool game. And
Love it.
then I was told about Mixer.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Now hold on, because you were streaming before,
I
right?
was streaming on
You were
Twitch before I
streaming
had
before on
kids.
Twitch. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we had Trinity, and
Hmm.
then you heard about Mixer. So
Right.
how was Mixer introduced?
So I was working a job for a construction company and I was laid off in the winters. Now during these winters I would literally just grind out Call of Duty. That's all I would do was Call of Duty. And there was Groggy Froggy and a couple other people that I played with constantly. And they said, "Well, you already play like 9 hours a day. Like why don't you stream on like Twitch or Mixer?" And I told him I was like, "Well, I'm not going to stream on Twitch, obviously." But I was like, I think I made a Mixer profile a while ago. Like I'll hit live through my Xbox. So I hit live through my Xbox.
Okay.
And um, then I don't know. It took me a month to get 1,000 followers. And then it took me 3 weeks after that to hit 2,000. And then it took me total of 3 months to get partnered.
Okay,
So
so let's back it up there because there's a lot of stuff that had to have
yeah,
happened before that, right? Because a lot of
yeah,
people are going to hear that and be like, 1,000 in a month. Oh man,
right,
I'm never going to make it, right? And
right.
partnered after the first year. Oh man, I'm never going to make it. I know in our previous conversation we had talked a little bit about. I mean, you had built up quite a following. I mean,
I
the
did.
pink, whether it's the pink Power Ranger and the belt buckle, to finally shedding the belt buckle and
Yeah,
becoming, pink with 2 1s XBL.
right.
I mean, what was the mechanism? What was the driving force between, I mean, 1,000 in the first month, right? Like
1,000 in the first month is a
they're
lot.
coming from somewhere. Where do they come from?
Right. So, at the time, I had approximately 3,000 followers
Okay.
on
Yeah.
Twitter,
On Twitter.
not including, I still had maybe 500, 3 to 500 at the time on Instagram. I have a total about 20,000 on Snapchat now. I don't know what I had
Really?
at the time.
When did you start those social medias? Like,
I started those.
when did you start your Twitter?
I started my Twitter a long time ago, like
Yeah.
maybe 2010,
Okay.
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it took a long time to gain that much following.
Yeah.
Now I'm not really active on Twitter
Yeah.
too much, but now I think I only have like 6,000. So I mean, I didn't grow too much on Twitter like I
Right.
did
Right.
on
And I
there.
think that there's a lot of metrics that would say that Twitter is maybe not rapidly as growing as it used to, or
Right.
if
Literally, hashtags are probably the biggest thing. Getting in
yeah.
groups
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
Facebook groups were huge for me. Now, like I would post a picture of myself, which I know is very female standard. Okay. I would post a picture of myself and then I would attach a link. I would attach a shit ton of hashtags. And then the time I started streaming and about the time I ended. Now, I
Yeah.
always post it. There's some groups that you have to wait like an hour to 2 hours before they will approve your post in their chat. So, like, I am a huge military support, as everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So, I post in like military gaming groups. Like, great. Now I can't think of it off the top of my head.
So you started, and I think this is important because I want to go back to this, right? Because 1,000 a month, 2,000, right, and then partnered the first year.
Right.
But really, what it was is you hit live for the first time, and you started. The moment that you went live, you had 26,000 warm leads,
Yeah.
right? And of that, you converted 1,000 in the first year,
Right.
right? And so I think what that really is a lesson of is just in general the ability to build an audience, right?
Yes.
And to start and to slowly cultivate that. And again, obviously, like all the Twitter ones, they probably weren't still warm leads, but you still figure, I mean, 20,000 people that
Right.
you can just go right to them, right? And say, boom, here it is, come check it out. And to convert 1,000 of them is a heck of a job, right? And I'm sure many
Yeah.
of them kept coming over.
Yep.
Um,
And then it's also like networking is really good, like playing with other people
mm,
and becoming friends with them. Now, the way that I've noticed networking works is that to get networking to actually work is you have to help someone before they will help
100%,
you.
100%.
Because don't like go into someone's chat and just expect that since you're a streamer, they're gonna help you. Like, no, you need to help them to
Yeah,
help you. And that's not like a number thing. Like, yeah, I may have, 40 something thousand total followers, but
sure.
I can go and find someone who has 23 followers and bring them up to the top. And I don't
Yeah,
expect them to really come back and help because like
yeah,
what
yeah,
does it matter? But I mean, they get pulled up a little bit, but I mean, just coming in and making that initiative, like, hey, thanks for throwing me that follow. Thanks for throwing
yeah.
me on your auto host. Like, whatever it may be. But like follow for follow doesn't work.
I think there's a
Um,
piece of advice that you just gave, and it's not just these conversations when it comes to networking and building a community or anything. It's not limited to streaming. And that advice that you just gave, and it's 100% true on networking isn't. Here's what it isn't. Hi, Pink. I stream. Thanks. Great.
yeah.
Awesome. Come check me
I
out.
I
Right.
made a
No, no,
video.
no. Like that will never work.
No,
Right.
that will never work.
Because in business, in life, in anything, right, networking, again, it's a huge part of the process. And
It is.
you need to open that conversation if you want to network with somebody. The first
Mhm,
thing that you need to be able to do, and this is for everybody, you need to ask yourself, hey, what piece of value can I bring to this person?
mhm.
Right? What piece of value can I bring to this person? Is it an auto host? Is it a few embers? Is it being a productive member of that person's community? And here's
Right.
the thing, I think people really struggle with this is because that takes some time, right?
It
Network
does.
isn't just like a one or two thing and then, oh, Pink's going to host me now. Great, awesome. No, it's not that.
Right.
I mean, this is a relationship business, right? It's not, I mean, every business is a relationship business, really. But it's this idea of when you go to somebody, hey, how can I be a productive member of this person and what they're doing? And can I add value? Because, and again, you're probably going to do that. And there's absolutely people
Mhm.
who add some value and don't get a lot brought back to them in return. Awesome. Probably not a person you want to network with anyway, but you're going to figure that out pretty quick.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So
you will.
I think that's a good place to take it is, so people want to network with Pink. What's the best way to network with Pink? What are some of the better ways that you found that work for both you when you were trying to build? Because still 1,000 is not the 20,000 that you had right here. So what were some of the
Right.
things that you did, say for those people who do have 1,000 followers right now? Where do you take it from there?
So that's a hard one because
Hmm.
honestly, it's like I went to bed and I woke up and I had 2,000. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's really hard. But like I don't know because when I find streamers to either play with, they have thumbs. They have the personality that matches my personality that equals
Right.
good content.
Right.
So either way, we both grow together because it's fun. We're having a good time. Like when I'm streaming with like let's say Cree or Nutty or I don't know, sniping for Dom. I don't
Yeah.
look at any my numbers. Like I could have
Yeah.
50 people in there and we're
Hmm.
absolutely killing it as if there's 500.
Yeah.
And it's just like because our personalities all mesh. And when you're having fun as a streamer, your whole chat is having fun, which means more people are going to join in. They're going to talk and chat, which is going to make it more active. You're going to have all your numbers are just going to go higher without you even noticing it. And
Yeah.
then you're going to build a fun, like surrounding community. And I really feel like that's what happened. Now, Dom is a huge help in me in the mixer community because when I first came in, he was like the second or the third partner that actually took me under his belt and like helped me grow with him. So me and him actually have a lot of the same community, which we've been on a show together. So if
Sure.
you guys have
Sure.
seen us, we've been killing it as a team. And I don't know, like we just have a really good time. And that's what you really need to find. And like pay attention to your chat because people don't want to join in to someone who's not talking. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fine if you're like playing your game and you're completely in the zone It's a whole nother thing. If you're running 15 miles in PUBG and you're not saying a single word, that's a
Right,
whole different
right,
ball game.
right.
So, and
And so even in that case, those people that networked with you, their biggest value add was it elevated the level of your content, right? Like
yeah,
it brings the whole thing up. Chat's laughing, chat's having a good time, chat's popping off, and everybody walks away feeling good, which is,
right.
I think that's exactly the way that you want people to be walking away from those experiences, right?
Exactly. Because I always say, like, I'm writing a book right now called My Life Behind the Green Screen.
Write it
So
down. When is there a potential release date?
so
Like
my
a
editor's
year?
very like weird about this whole coronavirus thing. So like she
Yeah.
doesn't even want to like get near me. So I'm debating on I might need to find another like
Yeah.
editor or
Yeah.
something.
If only
So
there was a way to have conversations with people where you didn't have to
I
be
have to
physically
like
next to them.
meet them. Yeah. So I'm like, oof. Yeah. So I mean, just I don't know. Like have fun.
Yeah.
Like
I do think people lose sight of that. And I do
yeah,
think people get
and
caught
don't
up.
let it get in your head. Like
Yeah.
I am 40
Mm,
something thousand deep. I get a total of like 2,000 overall subscribers. Okay.
right.
Like
Right.
nothing's changed. I've met so many people in person that were like all giddy to come up to me. And I was just like, whoa, high five. And like just like running around with them and having a blast. Like I'm exactly the same as I am on stream as off stream. And a lot of people get sidetracked of that and they let it get in their heads.
Yeah.
But there's also so many different bad things too about
Yeah.
streaming.
We'll get there. We'll get there. One thing you brought up, and especially like going into the Facebook groups, and there's a really good point there, right? There's a really
Yes.
good point in you going into those different Facebook groups, specifically when you start a business
Right.
and you start a channel. The worst thing that you can do is when if I were to ask you, right, in your business plan, even if you even wrote a business plan for your channel,
I didn't.
but there's a really basic business principle that you used really well here though, and that is, who is my stream for? And if you say it's for everybody, you're making a huge mistake.
Right. It's
Right?
not.
There's not a restaurant on the planet that like this restaurant is for everybody or this business caters to everybody, right?
Right.
You said this is what my channel is going to be about. This is the demographic of people that I'm going to target, right?
Hmm.
And it was military, and I'm sure you had a very strong why for why you were doing that. That's important, right? A business and a channel, it cannot be for everybody because it's
No.
not, right? Because, and I think that's what everybody tries to do is this channel's for everyone and no one comes, right?
Right.
It's not until you say this channel is for these people, this age group, this past, this experience, write it down. This is who I'm
Hmm.
targeting, because then every decision and action that comes from that
Is
is
easier.
going to be very targeted.
Yeah. It's easier to plan
Oh yeah.
because if you say
Yeah.
everybody, oof, that's a big crowd. That's a
Yeah.
lot of mouths to feed.
Right.
And it's like, you don't want that. You
Well,
want,
especially in an industry like this, how do you stand out?
right. Because it's saturated. So it's like you really need to figure out who you are as a streamer. And sometimes that comes later,
Yeah.
but you at least need to find like a circle. And
Yeah.
as everybody knows, streaming is kind of cliquish.
It can be.
So
Yeah.
it can be like you see the people who are super popular and they're up there doing their little
Mm-hmm.
thing. And then you have like all the little rebels over here, not really getting noticed, but they're
Right.
just poking at all the
Right.
Fortnite players over
Right.
here.
Right.
So it's like there's a lot of different things that you just got to go about correctly. Like me, I target 18 plus.
Yeah.
Military is huge in my channel. You must be funny, have a sense of humor, and be somewhat vulgar, and you got to have fun. Like, yeah, negative stuff
Yeah.
can be brought to the channel, but I'm just
Sure.
going to tell you to throw it in Discord. So,
Sure.
or like
100%.
whisper one of us. Like, my
Yeah.
mods are always there to chat, but 110%, like, you need to be the same as you are on stream as off stream and just target a very specific audience. And if later on you start to go away from that, just keep in mind you're going to lose people and don't let
Yeah,
that
well,
shock
that's
you.
just it, right? If you try and be the a la carte option where you can have whatever you want here, right? You can
Right.
have whatever kind of experience you want. No, that's it. You're gonna, because then as soon as you pivot,
Mhm.
let's say you do that every single week, you're something different.
Right.
right? Well, week one, you gain some people, week two, you gain some different people. And then by the time week four rolls around, the week one people are like, what in the world is this?
It's like variety
What am I here
streaming.
for?
Variety streaming is really hard.
Oh yeah, that's a challenge. Yeah,
It's a challenge. So you have to make like a set schedule, but when you make that set schedule, only certain people are going to come up on certain days.
yeah.
So you're going to notice like Sunday is going to be a lot busier than
Right,
Wednesdays.
right,
I mean,
right.
I've even started going to the point where like everybody knows I play Call of Duty in the morning and I play it for 2 hours. So that's all you get out of me is Call of Duty 2 hours. And then I do about 5 in the afternoon of straight Apex because that's what
Hmm.
people like seeing, but I
Yeah,
like playing COD sometimes.
yeah.
So it's like people are still sleeping in the morning. So that gives me 2 hours of like getting pissed at Warzone. So
You
I'm like,
rage a little
okay.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I rage a little bit
So
and
tune
then
in the morning for pink and you'll
right.
get, mhm,
You'll get
yeah,
coffee and like
yeah,
pissy pink. And
yeah,
then Wednesday mornings are Halo 2 and Halo 3. We do a little bit of flashback. And now we're starting to do Saturday nights. We're going to start doing Jackbox. So I'm
yeah.
still like, I keep my schedule the same. But when Apex came out, I don't know if a lot of people were streaming at the time, like just one in particular game, like whether it was Halo, PUBG, or Call of Duty, but right when Apex came out, it was like a huge curve. Like you had no following on Apex. So you were like, shit, I have to start over
Right,
and get a
right.
whole new following. So literally that scared me really bad because I was like, great. I normally have like at least 60 people watching me. And that was literally at that moment.
Yeah,
I only had 60 people, but yeah, I still had 60 people. But now I can jump on Apex and have 200 like that.
yep,
So it's like it
yep.
takes a little bit of time, but if you keep doing it, it works.
And let me ask you this honestly. How much of it do you really feel like is the game that you're playing? And how much of it is you've created an environment, you've created
Mhm.
really an experience that
Right.
and I get that the game is important and you're going to attract like different fans of different games. But also as long as you maintain consistency, right? And
Right.
we're going to get to your mods here in a second about how good of a job they do down a little bit. How much of it is it really the game, right? And obviously you can't jump around, but how much of it is it the game,
Right.
or is it you figured out how to be you and people are there for you, right? Because I guarantee you there are some of your followers that would say, you know what, if she plays Tetris, I'd watch it.
They've actually watched me play solitaire on stream because we were testing it. I was like, "How
Okay.
much are you guys are fucking fake?" I was like, "I want to
Ooh.
see. I'm gonna
Yeah.
play." I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna play solitaire. How many of y'all leave?" Not a
Yeah.
single person
Yeah.
left my chat.
Yeah.
Not a
So I think
single one.
again,
So
it goes back to
yeah,
it isn't necessarily the game. It is truly, do you
it
have a
is.
plan? Can you
It's the
execute that
person.
plan? Right? Can you execute that plan? Have you attracted like-minded people, right? Not just
Mhm.
to you, but then also these
Right.
people are naturally have things in common. And then boom, now we have the growth of a community.
Right.
So
Created like a family.
yeah,
That's literally what it is. I mean, it's 110% a community
yeah,
family. And like I've noticed when I'm having and every streamer will know this. If you're having a bad day, like me on Call of Duty, if I start getting pissy, y'all stop watching. Y'all stop talking in the chat. You already know I'm done as much as you're done. And
right,
we switch it to
right.
Apex and it just starts getting
Yeah,
hype again
yeah,
because being so good at Apex is like really nice. But people like seeing someone clap cheeks and be gross.
yep.
And we're going to bring it back to that little weird thing that, yeah, it's nice to see a female actually have thumbs. You know, it's really
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's helpful
Um,
also.
Let me ask you this. You tell your story, right? And on, you know, if I count them off on my hand and I think about
Uh-huh.
all the roles that you have to execute in your life, right? Your mom, right?
Yep.
Girlfriend,
Yep.
streamer, business
Mm-hmm.
owner, right? And
Mm-hmm.
for those of you, if you're not treating your channel like a business, you're doing it wrong. Um,
Teacher.
Teacher, right? Daughter,
Horrible.
probably,
Yeah.
and friends to however many different close friends that you have.
Yeah.
How hard is it from your standpoint being kind of at the top or up near the top? I would consider you at the top of anybody that we're going to have here in the near future, right? How do you at the top maintain balance? Because I work with on a daily basis athletes
Mm-hmm.
and business people and performers who have to execute at the highest level of their performance domain
Right.
in a big struggle. is
Mhm.
maintaining balance amongst all the different roles that we have to play. And that is absolutely something that I see a lot of streamers really struggle with.
It it can be very hard. I struggled with it in the beginning of streaming. I At the time, if people were in my channel, they knew that I was engaged, not engaged anymore. And I was actually supposed to get married, and streaming took up so much of my life that I forgot a lot about what was in my personal life.
Yeah.
So, um, which was probably the best thing I've honestly ever done. but, but
Not
like,
always the case for
not
everybody.
always the
Right.
case for everybody,
Right.
but for me, it just happened to work out that way. So you do need to come up with a good balance. So like every
Yeah.
morning, this is my daily routine and it sucks. So in the morning, I wake up, I get my daughter ready, I make her breakfast, I get her folders all ready because she has a Monday through Friday folder that has all of her homework in it from math, social studies, geometry, and her writing. And then she has a computer that has her online classes that she takes every single day. Now, she has to finish all this work, or she does not get her 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time to 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time of Fortnite. So once I
Yeah.
end streaming,
Which is ironic coming from somebody who video game tested from the age of 12. But go on.
yeah, well, she's already beaten Mario on Nintendo 64.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, so and she's
Lessons
actually getting
learned,
really good.
right?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
getting
Lessons
really
learned.
good at Fortnite. So, she plays that. While she's playing that, I'm cleaning the house, I'm doing laundry. Once the laundry's in and the house is somewhat picked up, I'm sitting on the computer and I'm either recently working on my QuickBooks, I'm
Mm,
downloading videos, I'm editing videos, um, I'm moving money around, I'm making sure nothing came out doubly.
yeah.
I have 6 monitors. So with my 6 monitors on these, I have multiple streams pulled up where I'm talking in every single one of them while I'm editing.
Now we're operating as a
So,
business owner, right? We're
right.
networking, yeah.
So I literally do all of these at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And then every night, um, I make a dinner. I
Yep.
do my dishes sometimes.
Yep.
I change my laundry, I throw it in a
Right.
basket. I get my kid ready for bed. I make sure she's got her medicine. And then not only that, I property management with my father too.
Oh, good for you. Yeah.
So he has all of that. And, so sometimes in the summer, like I clean multi-million dollar houses
Mm-hmm.
and 19-bedroom houses.
Yep.
And I do landscaping
I
on
mean, so you're
top of all
hustling,
of
right?
this.
You're hustling,
Yeah.
which I think most people, and we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I think most people would be surprised
Right.
that a partnered streamer, right, is still out there, right,
Right.
hustling, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I try to do as much as I possibly can. And then on a relationship side, um, my Killa is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely amazing as my manager, and he's
Yep.
always there for me. So that's another thing that a lot of people like don't get when they're streaming. They don't
Yeah.
have someone that's literally right there supporting them as much as they need, because there's
Yeah.
going to be nights that I have to stay up until 1 o'clock pushing out a
Yeah.
YouTube video that needs to be posted at 8 o'clock a.m. the very next day. But unfortunately, it somehow got deleted. So now, like,
Right.
you're
Right.
on
Now we're
grind
scrambling.
time. Yeah, like now you have to make sure everything is like getting posted, everything's filtered out. And, it's nice when the other person isn't bitching at you, because
Yeah.
now you have to
Yeah.
stay up later and you have to either lose time with them,
Right.
or they don't understand that you're going to be in meetings all day when you go to an event. They want, oh, I want me time. I want me time. No,
Yeah.
like that's not a thing. Like, and that's why it's great, because like at PAX, I actually overbooked myself, which was really unfortunate. Sunday,
Right.
I had hour interviews every 30 minutes. So it was like I would go to this company. Once my hour was up, I had 30 minutes to run from here to here, another hour, 30 minutes, another hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it was all scheduled out. But the entire time, Killa literally had everything timed and documented. He had like a whole
Yeah.
like everything was just like, this is where this is the booth you need to be at.
Yeah.
This is the booth you have a photo shoot over here. You need to go to this photo shoot. You have an interview over here. You have to be at a streaming pod up here for this many hours. You need to meet this person. This person messaged you on social media. You need
Right.
to message them
Right.
back. So he is literally like he's my manager. He tells me everything I need. And even in my personal life, like I have a lot of doctor's appointments. So he reminds
Right.
me every day if I have one, because I forget because I'm doing so many different things. And it's really hard to keep up,
Yeah.
but
And I think
it's nice.
too, you wake up and you got to execute the role of mom, right? I
Right.
think the issue with balance, right, is a lot of people will say when they hear me say, well, we have to find balance, right? So for example,
Yeah.
I have a professional female soccer player that I'm working with right now. And last season we did not work together. And she got so caught up in everything that she was a soccer player, right?
Mhm.
So she, her parents would talk to her about soccer. All of her friends had to do a soccer. Some of the most influential people in her life had to do a soccer. And so it's hard to then, when you leave the soccer field, to leave the soccer field. And that's the biggest challenge, right? When it
It
comes to,
is
because again, it's going to make you successful. But when you're mom, you can't be
football.
Pink the streamer, right? When you're streaming,
Mhm.
can't be mom. Right.
Right.
And so it's
And
it's and again, it's never a focus of time. It's a matter of focus, right? Where can you
right.
shut it off and can you turn
And
it on?
it's impossible. Like
Yeah,
as a streamer, like as a dedicate okay, so I can't say as a streamer, as me, as Pink.
sure. As the way you approach
Um
streaming, right?
Right. As gaming is literally my life. Like my house is gaming. I have action figures. I have like, I don't know if anybody knows it, but I got like $25,000 worth of Halo memorabilia that are still in original boxes. Okay. Like my life is
Right.
streaming,
Right.
not including the massive amount of equipment. You walk into my house and it's just like
Yeah.
bleh, like
Yeah.
equipment and everything. So it's hard personally for me to even have friends in real life
What do you do to
behind the
take
green
care of you?
screen.
What do you do to take care of you?
Like me?
Yeah.
Like
How are you
what,
taking care of yourself right now?
like mentally? Like do I shower?
And no, I'm talking about like you're doing all this stuff for streaming. What are you doing for Brooke? What are you doing for Pink?
I paint.
There you go. See, that's what I'm looking for, right? Because there has to be something. There has to be
There
something
is,
that when
yes.
we hit
There
the off
my
button on
mental,
streaming, right?
yeah,
When we hit the off button on streaming, we cannot be thinking about streaming, right? Like when you have that phone call with Kill or go on the date with Kill, you can't be you can't be
right.
Pink the streamer. You're Pink the
No,
girlfriend, right?
right,
It's likewise when you're with Trinity, right? You can't be angry and upset at the troll that
right,
just came in and tried to ruin your stream. You can't take that out. You can't take that
right.
into your conversations with Trinity,
Exactly. Yep. And
So I think
it's
that's the challenge, right?
it
And so you
is.
paint. What else?
I paint.
Tell me about painting.
So
How does that help?
I use painting to like let my minds like get away
Yeah,
from everything I still need to do. Like from
yeah,
my mix play board, everything when I'm painting, my Tourette's aren't that bad. So that's good. I make a popping sound. I don't know if anybody ever notices it. They probably just think like I just do it because it sounds cool. I have a form of Tourette's.
What do you do? What do you do, Pink?
I know,
I
right?
paint.
Like
I paint.
I
Yes, I
paint.
paint. I'm a
Yeah,
painter.
I'm a painter. And
Sounds
so
so
I paint.
cultured, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
use like acrylic oils. So I mean it's like really cool. I get my hands messy. I'm okay at it.
Okay.
It's okay.
But what it really is though, it's a way to disconnect, right? It's actually
Right.
something that you do for Brooke, right? Not for
Yes.
Pink the streamer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like I don't show my artwork like ever. There's
Yeah.
just it's not something I
And it's
do.
interesting that there's a lot of artists that take, right? That they go about it
Yeah.
that way, that art is their thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think we all need something, regardless of the industry, regardless of what we're pursuing. And a lot of people get caught up in, yeah, but this is going to make me really successful. Yeah, it is, until it burns you out and until you
Right.
lose all your passion and your happiness in what you're doing, right? So you have to step away. You
Right.
have to be able to take it, disconnect.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
actually
Painting.
every year I do a 3-day vacation and I unplug
Yeah.
completely. No cell phone, no social media, no nothing, no internet. Like just me in a hotel room in a completely different town.
Yeah.
Like I get away from everything because yeah, I have like 40 something thousand. But it's a lot different when you go to an event and you have cameras in your face
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's cool and all, but talk about anxiety. So it's like you really need to just unplug sometimes. And that's really nice too. And painting definitely helps with that because I like doing that
Absolutely.
a lot.
So I think one of the most, I mean, this is going to be the polarizing topic, right? And
Okay.
I think one of the most polarizing conversations, and I think I when I first started watching this and started exploring this industry, I think for me, I was probably just as guilty of it. But one of the narratives that I hear kind of propagated a lot in this industry is that, well, Pink, it's easy because you're a woman.
Right.
It's easy because you're a female
Mhm.
in streaming. And this is a conversation that I'm excited to have because I think when you really think about it,
Yep.
yeah, there are probably certain things that are easier.
Yep.
But what are the untold challenges? What are the things that people don't see? So let's open it this way. When I say Pink, it's easy to be a woman in streaming. What do you say?
Mhm. I say yes.
Okay. Why?
Because if you can do your makeup and look like that pretty, pretty girl on Instagram, if someone's going to like it on Instagram, they're going to like it on Mixer or
Sure.
Twitch or
Sure.
Facebook or any kind of social media. So, yeah, you can get 100, 200, 300,000 likes, but you're not going to have the view. You're
There
just
it
going to have
is,
the
right?
like.
Because the real question is it easier to be a female streamer? A lot of people say that. I think the real question for me is, does it become easier to be successful?
Right.
Because I think a lot of people will look at that follow number and just see the follows just rip off when the makeup is done and when the hair's all perfect.
Right.
But does that lead to success in
I
this industry?
say, like, depending on what they're pushing for as an individual, like some
Sure.
people just want to go as product pushers because they're pretty
Yeah,
and they can
that's
make
fair.
sales, and
That's fair.
that's totally fine.
Yep.
And then there's other people who literally sit there on a gaming platform and don't game because they're pretty and they know
Yeah.
they can, and they know that there are men and women out there that are just willing to throw money at them. And then you have people like me, and I don't do my hair.
Yeah.
I don't brush my hair in the morning
Yeah.
when I go on stream. I don't do my makeup. Half the time I'm wearing pajamas and a shirt I found off the floor. So I am not there to physically impress anybody. I'm hoping that like my personality and my thumbs and my vulgar mouth kind of takes over the whole thing, and people can relate to me as like a real individual and
Yeah.
not someone who's like a build a bitch workshop and that can just like put
Yeah.
makeup on and just like show up and know that they're going to get embers. Like
Yeah.
that's not cool.
So
So,
Kelly and I, we were sitting out by the bonfire last night, and we were talking about this. Like I wanted some help about how to navigate this
right,
conversation, right, in a way that would do both sides justice, right.
right.
And one of the things that she brought up, and again, I'm very fortunate to have her. I firmly outkick my coverage on this one. There's no doubt. Like she's a very, very beautiful woman, and she exists in corporate finance,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
in a manufacturing company, right, which is it's nothing but old crusty dudes, right? It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
nothing but
Yeah.
old men, right? And I think she raised a really good point. She goes, you can do that. You can play that card. You can maybe prop up the sexuality side
Hmm.
of of your demeanor. But there is another side of the coin, right?
Hmm.
There is another side of the coin because the moment that you do that, and if that coin turns, and let's say you do that and you get the attention,
Yeah.
but then you don't reciprocate the attention, right? Or you get the unwanted attention that comes from that,
Right.
and
Like you get
you
trolls hitting on
and,
you.
right, and you push back on that. Well, then now what's the feedback that you get, right? Now you're now you're all the nasty words that come that people throw at females when they reject them,
Right.
right? It's I think that's the other side of the coin is like, yeah, you can probably get followers,
Hmm.
but
Can you
I
handle
think,
what they're going to put down?
right. And the other side of it is I think the people who really, really get down about that, right? And I think that there are a lot of men in this industry that kind of piss and moan about that a little bit. And I think it's a
Yep.
lazy take because I think at the end of the day, while it's easier to get followers, right? Imagine you started a restaurant, right? There are 350 restaurants out here in Denver.
Right.
There are more opening up all the time. You can get just about anybody to try the restaurant on the corner once, right? You can
Can you
just
get him to come back?
can you get them to come back, right? And especially in a market that you describe as there's a massive supply of streamers, right? I do think there is a massive demand, but we'll get to that maybe.
Yeah.
Can you get people to come back? Can you get people to come back into your restaurant? Because if you're
Right.
really going to play how you look, well, there's a lot of people playing that card.
Yep.
And even so, that doesn't really make you that different at this point either, right? That
Nope.
doesn't really separate you from the crowd. What does make you different is to be a female, to not really give a crap about the superficial side of things, and to say, wow, look what I can do.
Yep.
Right? Look what I can do. And I think, especially when you think about, you obviously are raising a young daughter, right? And I
Yes.
imagine for you, the narrative is, I want to show my daughter that she's worth not what she looks like, but what she can do.
Yeah.
And that's probably a side of the story that people don't hear is
They
there's
don't.
a downside to playing that up. If that's really the value that you're going to offer people, the kickback isn't always what you want, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can hit that live button and you can show your tits all you want, but it's going to get, people that aren't going to respect you. And yeah, they might have just got their social security in and they're going to drop a little bit of money on you, but
Yeah.
they might not come back. And then you're going to have to find
Right. Because
more
isn't
people.
there a little bit of a challenge about being a woman in streamer of like, what does that dono really mean?
Right.
What does the embers really mean? Like, what is
So,
the real expectation here?
so there's actually been talk in my chat before that I've gotten like hundreds, hundreds of dollars from people.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
And
oh
then,
yeah. So
right.
Killa, like, like I'll say something and they're like, whisper, oh, you're in a relationship? Yeah, but I hope you know that those donos that you sent to me
Non-refundable.
meant like you were supporting me and my
Right.
channel and my
Right.
child.
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
you thought even a little bit that you had a fucking chance,
Yeah.
like, no, no, no. Like you're here for the content that I'm producing for you. And all this fucking equipment I had to buy to produce this content is completely different
Yeah.
than some chick charging $150 for 30 minutes of conversation on fucking
Yeah.
Patreon. So it's like big difference.
That's a really interesting point too, because it's always been my belief that there are a lot of ways you can start a business a lot of different ways, right? And I'm of the belief that 90% of the businesses that you can start, you can do so for less than $200, right?
Right.
The first company that I started, less than $200, right? It's the
Oh,
light,
yeah.
it's the you're filing for a business license, and then it's maybe a website from there, but you keep your overhead. I don't think this is one of those industries. I don't think that this is one of those industries that truly you can get in for less than $200 if you want to
Let me
make
see.
any sort of headway or momentum
No,
right
I
away.
don't think so because you got to talk about the game,
Yeah.
Xbox Live,
Yeah.
and then I started
Console.
streaming console through my Xbox. Okay. So
Yeah.
thankfully I was on Xbox so I could stream through Mixer. And
Yeah.
then I had to buy a camera now who uses the Connect anymore. So obviously I didn't get that. So I ended up buying a C922 Logitech. That was about at the time $120 right there.
Right.
Not including all the other equipment I need. That's just for basic, like
Yeah.
streaming
Yeah.
through Xbox, like
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah.
So I think when a lot of people think like, oh, I'm going to start streaming, they literally they use a really bad camera from Walmart. And that's
Yeah.
what makes our pixelation really bad. They get
Yep.
the lowest package from Spectrum, which is already shit. So then it's blurry. And
Shout out
then,
Spectrum.
yeah, exclamation point randoms. And then
Right.
they end up, they just don't look at their chat. Like I'm a left reader. So, and a lot of
That
streamers
was one
need
of
to
the
know.
interesting things that you had said was the whole left
Yeah.
reading thing. That's fascinating.
So, like, a lot of people need to realize the placement of all your equipment and your monitors depend on which side of a reader you are.
Yeah.
Like, I play FPS games, so I always look top left. So, in my
Yeah.
chat, you will always see me looking left. I'm a left reader. My chat is on the left side of my screen. My monitor's here, and my monitors surround me,
Yeah.
but I need it here, or I
Right.
cannot reply to anybody properly.
Right.
So,
Right.
like, my chat right now is on my far left screen,
Mm.
driving me crazy because I can't see the chat. But, you know,
Not your
it
job
is
right
what
now.
it is. I know it's not my job,
Not your
but
job
you
right
know,
now.
it is what it is. So there's a lot of people who are readers. There's a lot of people who are right readers. And then there's other people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. So they have
Yeah.
like their chat like way over here on like some
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
And we can tell, like I network every single night. Like Kill and I have a routine every night while we're eating dinner. It takes me about an hour because I have two stomachs. I'm part cow. So I we start eating and we just scroll and we try to find people to network with. Now, during this time, I'm always like, watch, they're going to look at their chat. No one's typing in their chat, but they're going to look at their chat and they
Right.
literally have to go like this. They have to turn. That does not look good. You need to readjust your
Yeah.
boxes from
Yeah.
Amazon because that just does not look good.
Yeah. I mean, already one adjustment that I need to make is like my camera's right there. And
Yeah,
I
your
haven't looked
camera's
it
right
up.
there.
It is what
Yeah.
at this point, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Just forgot where we were. Oh yeah. Kind of wrapping up stream. So let's transition into, so one of the most prominent kind of, I guess, pieces of research that I've ever read, and I think it carries a lot of weight, especially in something like this, in that there's a piece of research that came out maybe 5-6 years ago that talked about how the people that you surround yourself with
Right.
impact you.
Mhm.
Right. And obviously this is true, highest level of sport, business, career, whatever it is.
Right.
The piece of research, the summary stated that we are, as people, we become, from an achievement, from a success standpoint, from a happiness standpoint, we become the average of the 5 people that influence us the most.
Mhm.
And when I read that and then I apply that piece of research to this industry, I mean, that's all about the mods, right?
Yeah.
And I go into your channel and I think, you know, we can get, and we're going to get deep into this, but mods can absolutely make or break your channel. And it is my personal opinion. And if you're watching this and you're upset by it, that's fine. Don't at me. You have some of the best, if not the best, mods on this platform for a variety of reasons, right? And they're essentially employees in a way of your business. Like they're just as important to the functionality of your channel as anything, right?
Right.
And as being somebody who I've had employees, you know, I have in the past and future probably will have more. I
Mhm.
know that for probably every great mod that you found, and you have, there's 4, right?
4,
Elmo,
only
Killa,
4.
King, and Tack, right? You only have
Yep.
4 and you have
I only have
20,000
4.
followers. For every great mod that you've had, there's, and we're not going to go into this, there's probably been some that have not worked out.
Oh yeah.
How did you, well, let me just ask it this way. How did you get there? How did you get 4? I mean, quite honestly, rock stars at what they do, right? Because mods are
I
kind of
yell
the
a
engine that
lot.
make the things go.
I
Okay.
yell a lot at them.
Interesting approach. Tell me
So
about that.
that's the best way I could say it.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
So when being my mod and being anybody's mod, honestly, you should treat it, if you go into another streamer's chat and it's not the person you work for,
Yeah.
you need to represent them the
Yeah.
best you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because one thing that my mods will not do is make me look like a fucking idiot. That
Right.
is one thing they will not do.
Right. Right.
And I make it extremely clear, because when I get pretty bonus checks, I'm not the only one who gets pretty bonus checks. So
Save that. I don't want to go
I
into that just yet, but keep going. Yeah.
I
Save that part.
literally, I will go to like extremes to help people. Like if one of my mods needs any help, like whatsoever, like their controller breaks, or, you know, they forgot to get something for their kid and they
Yep.
needed some money, like anything, there is never nothing they can't ask me. But
Yep.
that being said, there are very strict rules in the chat. Like we don't ban unless it's racism. Now, and you treat all women that join my chat as if it's me, and you respect them, because there's a lot of
one
chats.
hell of a female base in
I
your
do. I have
community.
a
You
massive
really do.
female base.
You do. And I think, and you had mentioned that this past week, and I think that is something that you really seem to take a lot of pride in. Why?
Yeah. So I didn't know I had a female base until I realized
Right.
it
Right.
a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, because I was actually talking to Kill and I was like, where the hell are all these women coming from? Like, usually like females are not like, they don't like other females. Like they feel attacked for some
They
random
can.
reason.
They can, yeah.
So I'm absolutely loving this whole thing. But I feel, and me and Killis actually talked about this off stream. We feel like it's because the mods welcome them,
100%.
and like they welcome them as if it's their home. Like they can come in
Yeah.
and be like, girl, my kid went shut the hell up today. And I'm like, cheers, let's
Yeah.
grab our coffee. Like,
Well,
we got this.
you are a
You know?
mom and you can relate to that struggle, right? I mean,
Right.
there's the conversation 2 segments ago about balance, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
there, if there's anybody that can relate to that, or, you know, wow, my kid was just really just a pain in the butt today, right?
Yeah. And I mean,
It's
I
so there's a
take,
relatability to it. And
yeah,
it's
I
funny
take
because
it.
you talked about your demographic being military.
Right.
Now all of a sudden we've just
I
because of
know.
you
And
being
it's,
your consistent, authentic self, now all of a sudden, boom, hello,
I know.
you know,
And
you
it's
have this
women
strong female
too.
base.
It's crazy. So, I mean, I have gone into people's chats. Okay. No names. I've gone into people's chats, and like their mods or like other people in their chat have been so severely disrespectful
Yeah.
to a lot of the women that are in the chat. And now
Yeah.
I'm very vulgar. You guys know this, but I still respect everybody equally. Like, I'm not going to down someone just because of, what they have in their pants. I don't give a fuck. But
Right. Right.
like, my mods are made to literally respect everybody as family, because when we all come together at a convention, that's literally what we are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at PAX, we did this Friendsgiving. So me and Killa cooked an entire dinner for
And
18 plus
Killa, rumor
people.
has it, is quite the cook himself.
Yes, he is. He's a very good cook, which rumor has it you and Killa are supposed to be
It's gonna
cooking
happen.
Miss Tofty
It's
and
gonna
me
happen.
some dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. Kel, if you're watching this, there's plans that have been made that I will fill you in on in the future.
Yes,
So,
we need to do that. And
but
it's
anyway,
amazing.
Friendsgiving at PAX.
Yes, Friendsgiving at PAX. So we had a bunch of people over, women partners, male partners, like just everybody came over to this B&B rental that we had. And me and Killa cooked them all dinner. And it was just as like a huge like Friendsgiving, like thank you for supporting us. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
huge, it's appreciated. And I was still battling cancer at the time, so it was like I was
Right.
exhausted, but we were still killing it on the dinners.
Yeah.
And like my mods are like family, and I've gone through a lot of mods, a lot of mods, but I feel like
Yep.
we all have to be able to find the ones that are actually able to help you. And this is another big thing. Like, if I read something in the chat, people should know. People that watch me every day for the past year, sometimes twice a day, if I make a squint or like I move my cheek where I'm not liking something in the chat and I want you to delete it, you should know just by my facial
Yeah.
expressions.
Right.
So the fact that my people have been around for so long makes my job so much easier, because I can
How
literally look at something and they're like, nope, gone, bye.
how much turnover do you feel like you've had from to like get to this point to to distill it down to 4 people who are really high end at what they do? How many do you feel like you've gone through, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, I think, I don't know, if Killa's in the chat, I think maybe 7 people.
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
8 people I've gone through.
Yep.
Some of them were absolutely mistakes. Like they were 24 hours by.
We have those,
Yeah.
right? In
Like,
business and life, we have those, right? But I
yeah,
think the most important thing is though is your
about
willingness to
8. Yeah.
recognize that quickly and just yoink,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So about 8.
Okay.
And there was some that was there for a while, and then they just, I don't know if they got like bored, or
Yeah.
they just needed to go to a different side of Mixer or whatever, but that happens too. So everybody needs to be like aware of that. And even if someone is a mod and they're having personal life stuff, or they get a new job where now they're working night shifts and they're going to sleep during your stream, then they're going to sleep during your stream, and you just need to unmod them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason
Yeah.
to have a green
And
name
that
there.
can't be
They're not going to be there.
a personal thing.
Right. It
Right.
can't be
It's
personal.
purely a functionality thing, right?
Right.
It's like, listen, this is the role. Like anything else, like any other job that we have, this is the role. If we can't fulfill the role, well, it's nothing personal. It's just we got to get somebody else into that role, because that role is
Right.
there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Like
role
you need to
exists for a
fill it.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it can be rough. Like my mods, they're always there for the most part, not recently. But like Kill is always on point. But my mods also work. Like
Yeah. Well,
they
they got
work a
lives too,
lot.
right? They
Yeah,
got lives
they
too.
work a lot. So I mean, we're always still on the hunt for more mods just
Okay.
because there's some days literally every single one of my mods are working.
I have a feeling
They're
you're probably going to get some applications in here after this.
like
So,
some days that does happen and I'll have like 200 plus people in there and everyone's got gloves on or they're
yeah.
typing or
Yeah.
they're literally carrying around trays. Like, I mean, we're all people. And then here at some point, King is probably going to be getting shipped off to basic. So, you
Thank you,
know,
King, by the way.
so you never know. Like it's
Yeah.
always very busy and my chat gets extremely busy. So,
Yeah. So getting really good people is one thing.
yes,
How do you keep them? And
you
you
make
talked about a
them
little bit from like a bonus standpoint. How do you
right.
incentivize them, right? Because and this is, I think, there's a really good point lying in here.
Mhm. So, you can like when I get bonus checks, I offer like I've paid Killa,
Bonus checks
and then
from
so sometimes as mixer partners we get incentives.
okay.
So I will let my mods know like, hey, so this month we need to push views. Like we need to post on social media like
Yeah.
crazy
We
because
got to make a
now,
run this month,
right,
right?
like let's say Mixer's doing, hey, you have 7 days to figure out as many viewers as you possibly can. You get 10 cents a view. Next thing you know, I'm over here like, bro, we're posting everywhere. Like everywhere we got to get it going. We needs to make the monies. Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and that's how that works. And then there's other things like I bought Reaper a controller. You
Yeah.
know, there's just so many things like VIP access.
Yep.
Elmo got into VIP where it was 2 hours of gameplay and laser tag and a bunch of other stuff that we did partnered with Phasmid and the Ruby crew. And there's just like there's so many opportunities that I can give them
Yeah.
and codes. Like
Okay.
if I get
Yeah.
game codes here, I'm not going to use it. You want to use it?
Right.
I got 100
Right.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like it. Yeah, I got him a controller and I autographed it. And it's not like it's like a super big deal to me because some months are better than others. And that's
Yep.
the life of a streamer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the end,
That's the life of
they
any
need to think.
entrepreneur, right?
Right.
And it's no different than with me, right? I mean, and we will have many more, conversations. We're not going to get to everything with you today. We're definitely going to have you back, and I'll probably be having some other conversations. But
Right.
if you want to do this full time or you want to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
money management will make or break you.
It literally
It will
will.
make or break you,
110%.
because my income is not stable,
Right.
right? Your income is not stable,
No.
right?
Nope.
And part of that is there's a mindset that has to go with that, right? Like there's a mindset that like for every up, there's a down. For every down, there's an up, right?
And you
And
need
it's
to
this
count.
constant balance of
Yes.
can we stay even?
Yeah. And a lot of it is, yeah, you can still go out to dinner and have a good time, but don't do that 20 times a month.
Yeah. Just
Like
because
do
you had
that
a good
like,
month, too. Don't
yeah,
do that because you had a great month.
right. Like, okay, cool. You brought in $4,000 this month. Congratulations. Now go put a massive portion of that in a savings account because
Yep.
one month you're going to only get $800
Yep.
and you're going to need to make up from that somewhere. So pull it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people need to remember that too.
100%.
And, to pull aside for your taxes. People don't do
Yeah, yeah, and
people
and
don't
that's the thing too. You and I, we had that conversation too, and you
yeah.
got to put some systems in place too, even for you, even where you are. And
Even for
again,
me.
a big part of this show is it doesn't matter how big of a streamer you are,
No.
big, partnered, small, medium, where somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
There's going to be some things that are going to be said on here that it's meant for everybody, and the ability to manage money and the ability to understand taxes or put systems in place that make your life easier, right? Like you told me you had some sort of like massive spreadsheet that
I
you
do.
tried to calculate like all of your
I
taxes. And
have
I literally says like quite literally, it's like, there's an app for that. It's called QuickBooks, and it's like,
yeah.
I'll teach you how to use it, or we'll come on here and I'll teach people how
Yeah.
to like use it, manage their money. What are write-offs? What can you write off? What can't you write off? Like, I'm not a CPA, so run it all by your CPA, but
Right.
the management, there's a lot of people that are losing a lot of money because they're not writing their stuff off.
Yes. Yes, or they're not writing it off correctly. Now,
Right,
I still
right.
love my spreadsheet. Like I love QuickBooks and
You should,
I
yeah,
document my
yeah.
spreadsheet every single day
You can keep
because
using your spreadsheet, but just fact check it with QuickBooks.
I know I do. I fact check it with QuickBooks. Yeah, but like I document like subscriber, donos, embers, and but my spreadsheet, I track it by individual person.
Yeah,
So like I know what everybody's given me.
yeah.
So that
My
makes it easier.
my fiance is upstairs. Kelly's watching this right now, and I know she's just gonna. The moment this is done, I'm gonna walk upstairs and be like, I need to show her how to use a pivot table in Excel. Right? Like I
I
need to
wish
show
I
her how to
had
use Excel.
Excel. I don't even have
You got
Excel.
like a Google
Like I'm
spreadsheet, which is
using
like
Google
the.
Docs.
I've
Yeah,
been
like
told
it's
that's like the dumb
horrible.
younger brother of like
It's
actual Microsoft Excel is
horrible.
Google Sheets,
Like
right?
the trying to figure out how to autofill in Google Docs is literally Googling how to autofill
Yeah,
in Google Docs
yeah,
because it doesn't tell you anything. So
yeah.
you're like, great, I'm screwed. It's
Back
absolutely horrible.
back to the mods. So the reason that I like you doing that is, especially on the bonus side of things, is
Right.
if you really want to motivate people, I think the worst thing you can do is give somebody a salary or an hourly wage. And because,
Right.
especially with where you are, and again, there's a lot of people that are probably, I'm trying to envision questions that people probably have who are like setting up these functions. And the worst thing that you can do as a streamer is to start putting people on salary or start giving people an hourly wage, because now you have fixed expenses,
Right.
variable income. Hello, stress, right? What you
Right.
want to be able to do, and I think the best way is to make the people, and it's not like you're lying to them, but allow the people to be a part of the success.
Right.
So that's the best incentive there is. Make me feel like
It
I'm a part
is.
of the team. Don't just pay me to be here, right? Like make me like your success is their success and their job is your success. And that's how you get 4 really good mods.
Yeah. Yeah. My mods are amazing.
Yeah.
Like there's some days that we're
Well,
slow in
and
the
they're not just
channel,
amazing
and
from
there's
the
other
mod
day.
and functionality standpoint. It's back to that piece of research that I had
Mm,
talked about in that we become the average of the 5 people that we allow to influence us the most, right? Plenty of
yes.
research around that. And thus who you surround yourself with. And obviously your mods are going to be some of the people that are closest to you, thus most likely to influence you the most. And
Yeah,
that's
because they literally
important.
they understand me
Yep.
the
Yeah.
most because
Yeah.
they have to put up with me 8
Yeah.
hours a day,
Well,
every day.
Well, and when you go to PAX, right? When you go to PAX and you're you, right? Like your experience at PAX is fundamentally different than mine. But when you go to PAX
Mhm.
and you've described this like constant interviews, I'm sure people come up to you all the time, constant people like sticking mics in your face, constant just give me your attention, give me your attention, give me. To be
Yep.
honest, that sounds like a pretty hostile environment.
It
I mean,
is
I work with
it
some
is.
Olympic athletes. I work with professional athletes. I work with like really high end like performers who have to really deal with really stressful environments. That sounds stressful. That
Yeah,
sounds
so
hostile.
at PAX, they actually have a room called the media room, which Killa kept telling me to go into the media room
Oh boy,
at
killer.
South.
Yeah.
And there is no cameras, no press, no nothing.
Oh,
You have to have a media badge to get in and be a content creator of like X amount of followers to be able to access this room. Well, I had a badge to get in, and my dumb ass did not really go. I went up there once just to like check around to make sure like where it was. But yeah, it was bad. Like I was even I was getting surrounded at PAX to the point where I was sitting for lunch and I was telling my mods and everybody else to get the fuck up and walk away from me. Like
yeah.
everybody was
Yeah.
like, I
It's
couldn't
just sensory
breathe.
overload, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
just
was like,
sensory
y'all needs
overload.
to go.
Right. Yeah.
And then like next thing you know, I'm sitting there eating and someone runs like, can you sign my badge? And I'm like, I'm over it. I'm not even eating this salad anymore. Like it doesn't even taste good anymore. Like I'm so done. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that happens. And you just have to like you have to smile through it. You have to be exactly the same and not come off as an asshole because you could be that person's biggest fan.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to kind of like balance it out, but like not have the panic attack
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like it's really crazy because there would be a lot of
There's
times
got to
like,
be a way to flush it.
yeah,
Right. And we talked earlier about
so
painting, but you can't just pull out the canvas anyway.
no,
Right. And so at
you,
that point, you're 100% reliant on the 4 people that are around you, right?
yes.
That know you the best.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I can be stuck in a crowd and like I'll start getting like anxiety or whatever, and I'll start scanning the crowd for my people.
Yep.
Like mainly I'm looking for Killa because I know that he's gonna be right there. And
Yep.
100% when I'm talking in an interview, and if I don't, like, I start stumbling over my words, or someone sticks a mic in my face, like, "What do you think of this new app for Call of Duty in this portion?" I'm like, dude, I don't use
Yeah.
the fucking app." Killa could be like, "So this is what Pink is trying to say," like, did it and say what I need to say.
Right.
Um, which has happened.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
my mods got to speak to Ryan from Mixer, who is Mixer staff, about what they need to change for the mods
Yeah.
on Mixer
Yeah.
to make their lives easier. So we had a meeting with them.
Yeah. You
So
want to talk
that
about
was
the
great.
ultimate compliment to your mods, right? I mean, really though. I mean, you think Mixer's asking anybody's mods, right? Like,
Right.
hey, how can we go to you? You guys know what the hell you're doing. How can we
Right.
make your life easier,
Yeah.
right? I think one of the themes too with you has been especially handling the situations at PAX and handling all the other situations that you've been faced with, right? Both in the
Right.
past and very recently.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to imagine, right? And, again, I work, the clientele that I work with, if they had to go through half of
Half.
what you've had to go through, right? Whether
Quarter.
it's, the issue with somebody trying to tamper with the internet connection or dealing with spectrum. I mean, that directly affects your livelihood. Like, we're not just talking about like, oh, I can't play video games anymore, right? It's like, that's my money, right? That's
Right.
my
Yeah.
livelihood, my daughter's livelihood. So you've dealt with that.
Mhm.
You've dealt with the health challenges, with the cancer,
Yeah.
right? You've dealt with, obviously, the personal life challenges, right, that come with this in the past.
Yeah.
You were streaming before, right? All that
Yeah.
happened. You're streaming after all that happened. So you're doing the same thing,
Yeah.
but for you, what do you feel like has changed? What do you feel like you've learned the
Um,
most?
I feel like it's changed my outlook on how I treat every stream. So before, when I was streaming, this was like when I had the cancer and everything, because I had breast cancer. I had a double mastectomy.
Yeah.
So before I had that, I would literally boot up and I would be in pain all day and I just didn't care. And I would just like laugh and, it was whatever when I would stream. And I was super thin and I was drained. And then after that, like the internet issues happened for about 9 months, and it was to the point where I would boot up and I would hit live and it would crash and I would cry. I would just sit in my chair, look at all of my equipment, I would just cry, like mentally drained, because literally I had no other form of income, because you can't work if you have to go to doctor's appointments 2 to 3 times a week to a cancer clinic and then
So you're
come
already
back
struggling with
out.
hours, right? We're
Yeah.
already
So
struggling with hours.
yeah, and then on top of that, how would I be able to afford after school childcare if someone couldn't work with my hours? So then it's like a whole vicious cycle of I'm literally going to have a panic attack. Like there's
And we
nothing
allow
I can
those
do.
fears to just propagate, right? Those fears
Right.
are creating a reality in the future. And if we buy into
Yeah.
that reality, and then it snowballs, right?
Right.
Really quickly.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, well, Spectrum's screwing me over and it's been 9 months and I can't figure anything out. I was like, I've hired thousands of dollars of companies to try and figure it out for me. None of them could figure it out with zero refunds. I was like, okay, great. I'm screwed. Went to PAX. Had a great time. My mods actually got to see me what I look like when I have my mornings are my best. Like before I had my mastectomy, my
Yep.
mornings were my best. And as the days went on, it was like I was slowly fading, like I was getting more exhausted.
Yeah.
Um,
You just don't have the endurance.
I don't have the energy by like 5 o'clock. I would start to get really drained. And then after I came back home, issues were great. Like I had no issues. And then boom, started happening again, went into surgery, had the surgery 5 days after my double mastectomy. I started streaming again. 5 days. Now I
Yeah.
was supposed to be on bed rest for 6 weeks. Now, and streaming worked great for about a week and a half after that. And then boom, crashed again for 2 straight months. And it was to the point where it was like I couldn't even last 2 to 3 minutes on a
Really?
stream before it would crash out. So then, you know, and then I got an infection And then I started getting allergic reaction and had a rash on my incisions. And I was like, what is going on? And now we're to the point where it's good. Everything is going great
Good,
and
good.
coronavirus. So it's like literally it's one thing after another
Right
with
when you
me. And
start
it's
even thinking
horrible.
about getting back up, nope,
Right.
stay down.
Exactly. It's just like, no, no, no. We're going to
Back
challenge
down.
you one more time.
Right, right.
But from going to literally hitting that live button, and I wasn't thrilled. I didn't even want to do it anymore because it was
Yeah,
like, what's the point if I'm going to hit live and it's not going to work? I was
yeah.
like, I lost a lot of following. I lost a lot of fan base because I would go live 6, 7, 8 times a day just trying to get a stream going. Um
And this has been your
and
baby. I mean, this has
right.
been like the thing from the ground up that
Yeah.
you've built, right?
Yeah, in
And
3
now
months, I lost 400 subscribers in 3 months. So you times that out. It's rough.
it's 2K a
And
month. Yeah, that's a lot of
yeah,
money.
and I was like, "Man," I was like, "This is horrible."
Yeah.
And
I mean, everybody here, like, envision a scenario, right? Anybody watching this now or later, envision a scenario where all of a sudden, boom, somebody affects your life. And now you're $2,000
in the
short of
hole.
what you usually have. Right. And
Right.
it's not like your overhead dipped by 2K did it.
Right,
Right.
exactly. So
Your
it's
bills didn't
like,
go down.
yeah, bills didn't change. So I was like, "Man," and then finally, like, now when I boot up on stream, like, I have my intro and we're about to kill it. Like, I'm playing the best music. I'm trying to think of new things to add. I'm like changing my stream loots cards. Like I'm all about it now because it's working. So I'm just, fingers crossed.
You had mentioned that you look at what I sense hitting that live button differently. What's the
Yeah,
difference? If you could quantify it in a few words, what's the difference between what it feels like to hit the live button before all this nonsense hit
right.
versus after everything that you've gone through?
After everything I'd gone through, I've realized that there's so many people that support me
Yeah.
that I didn't, I guess, fully realize.
Yeah.
So I had fans make blankets. Lady Bruce made me a blanket, so
Mm,
I would stay warm in the hospital.
yeah.
So that was really cool. So that was a big reason on why I kept hitting live. And
So you got a lot of
um,
support
I got a
from the
lot of
community.
support. Like the amount of flowers I got after surgery was
Yeah.
incredibly impressive. Like they were calling me the flower. Hey, so do you have like any other people that are
We
going to
don't have a
be?
hey, we don't have a truck big enough. Do you
Yeah.
take,
Like,
can we just do it in shipments, maybe one a day, for the next 60 days?
yeah, I was like, oof. And then,
Yeah.
like there would be people that would come into my channel and they'd whisper me and be like, literally, you are the only reason why I can even get online or wake up. Like
Yeah.
there's been so many people that I've actually had to call through *67 because I don't give out my digits. And I have like literally had to call them and be like, hey, suicide is not the answer, bro. Like, keep coming into my channel. Like, I got you. Like,
Yeah.
it's been rough for a lot of people. And I don't think there's a lot of streamers out there that actually take that extra time.
We talk about, and again, we'll get into this. Yeah, we probably have time today. Talk about like how full the supply is when it comes to streaming. There's a lot of streamers, and you've said an index of things that the people watching this and that will watch this can do to separate themselves apart. But isn't it amazing how all the things that we try, right?
Right.
All the things that we try and do to be successful, to build a community, to get this whole streaming thing off the ground. And really all you're describing is like the single most simple business concept that's ever been
Literally the
developed. And
simplest.
that's customer service.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's all it
Right.
is.
It's like we want all the bells and the whistles. We want all the gimmicks. We want all the gadgets. Doesn't matter if you don't connect with people.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And then that's the
It
easiest way to
doesn't.
make every single, and I think, and from what I've seen, and this is a rabbit hole that we're not going down, but what I've seen is there's a lot of people that approach the followers like they're a number. And that's why the viewers go down, right?
They do.
You take this approach, and it seems like out of all of this, you've taken this approach of like, you're not follower number 2,364,
Right.
right? Your gamer tag. Let me get to know you. How
Yeah.
are you? How
Like,
can I
how are
help?
your kids? How's the
Yeah,
wife? Like, I
because
want to
that's
know.
value. That's
Yeah.
value.
And then I do my best to remember. And let me tell you, if I don't remember, my mods are whispering me, letting me
Yeah.
know what to
Yep.
say because
Yep.
they remember. And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't remember what your kid name is, like, or I don't remember what state you live in. But you know what? My fucking mod remembers and he's
Yeah.
letting me know. So it's like a huge teamwork. And it's like super, super helpful. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know. Killa's got a memory. I don't know where it is, but he's got a memory.
Yeah. One of the things
Never.
that kind of floated to you in the when we met a couple weeks or a week ago, and then
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about it here. And I asked you a question. I think I get this a lot, and I think this is a question that a lot of people have, especially if you're just thinking about getting started, right? If you're just thinking about getting started, people see all these streamers, and
Yeah.
they ask themselves, like, the word or the term that I use is, is this a saturated market? What's
Okay.
your answer to that?
Yes.
Why?
Because you can go to Call of Duty right now and you could
Yeah.
probably see 20,000 people streaming and
Yeah.
only 6,000 people watching.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing that you don't want to do.
Yep. Yep.
And a lot of it is there are people streaming and they have Scotty bot, Hype bot. They made their mom make an account.
Yeah.
They made an account. They're already in there. They have a bot account. Okay, that's already 6. Now they're way up here
Right.
while like some person that
Yeah.
just has them and a Scotty bot
Yeah.
is way down here, but they have a $3,000 computer and a green screen,
Right.
and they're
Right.
actually good at video games, but they're
Right.
stuck down here
Yeah.
while Jimmy's up here trying to build in Fortnite and he's not capable of doing it because his
Right.
sensitivity is not high enough.
Right.
So, I mean, it's
Does that mean, though, and I'm going to challenge you here, because I think that people get incredibly unmotivated when they hear the market is saturated. I think that deflates a lot of people. And I want to be really clear about something. Just because there's a lot of supply,
right.
right? A saturate, in the definition, again, thank you, beautiful fiance, who's far smarter than I am. The definition of a saturated market is has the supply met all of the demand?
Right.
And I don't think that's true. I don't think that the supply has met all the demand. I mean, Mixer, I looked up these numbers before. I mean, Mixer grew by between 18 and 19 grew by 148%, so more
Right.
than doubled from 2018 to 2019. So I
Mhm.
think when a lot of people hear this is a saturated market, I think they perceive that as a lack of opportunity, that's the exact opposite way that
Right,
you should
that's
view a
not the
saturated
case.
market, right? Because you should be excited. Like, why would you want to be in an unsaturated market? Why would you want to be in like the shoelace business? Right?
Right,
Like,
like
why would
when
you, where there's
Ninja
not
and
like a
Shroud.
demand for like high end, like a ton of different shoelaces. So
Yeah.
because there's a saturated market, that means two things. A, that means that there's a demand, right? If there's a lot of
Right.
people on here streaming, there's a heck of a lot of demand, right?
Mhm.
The other side of it is that also means that if you think about it on a bell curve, right? And on Mixer here, there's probably, figure 5% are really high end in elite, such as yourself. They've
Right.
got all the systems in place. They have tremendous moderation. That's a stupid word to say, modship. That was incredibly dumb. They have tremendous moderation, right? They've got all the social media. They got all the artwork, all the
Right.
graphics, all of it's
Graphics, yep.
handled, right? But there's another side of the bell curve, right? There is Timmy, who's got the cheap Walmart camera and
Yep.
and he's running it off his box and it's all pixelated. And then the part that people miss is there's a lot in the middle, right? There's a lot in the middle. And you have to think about, if you really want to do this, what are you going to do to separate yourself from the pack?
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, if it's so congested in the middle, it really doesn't take that much. If you really think about it,
It
it doesn't
doesn't.
take that
It
much
takes
to
like
jump
2
10%.
people.
Yeah. It
It
doesn't take that
literally
much of a
yeah.
difference. Like when people walk into your stream or they walk into your restaurant, it
Mhm.
doesn't take that much. If everybody's doing the same thing,
Yeah.
if everybody's got their PC, got their green screen, got their thing, got their Discord, what can you do to be different?
Right.
Right? Because again, a lot of people are going to come into that restaurant. How many people come back? So
Yep.
what would your advice be about, because obviously we're not going to promote like make 85 alt accounts and open
Oh
them up on like
gosh.
4 PCs so that we have 85 viewers.
Right.
How do you approach this market that has so much supply? because there's a lot of demand as well.
There
What's your
is.
advice to those people who say like, oh my gosh, there's so many streamers?
So one thing I've noticed while we've been searching for people at night is a lot of people, when you click on their channel, you join in and they have like shit all over their screen. Like to the point where it's annoying and overwhelming or
Yeah, like the
every
overlays are too much.
yeah, and like not just like the overlays, like if someone puts a sticker in their chat, it's like this big on their screen. And at that point, if
Right.
you get a kill feed, I mean, you might as well just throw the whole game away. Like we can't see it.
Right,
And
right.
then you have other people who their camera like of them is so tiny.
Yeah,
You're like, "Where are you, bro?" Like
right,
you got to
right.
find like a happy balance. Like a happy
Yeah,
balance, but don't make it look like everybody else's. Like come up with your own
right,
branding
right.
and it doesn't need to be professional.
No, it
Literally,
doesn't.
you can go to canva.com and make your own graphic designs for free.
Yeah,
So simple. Like there's so many different websites where you can just take a picture of yourself in
yeah.
front of a white
Canva,
wall
what she's
or
talking
anything.
about is canva.com, K or
Yes.
canva.com. It is
.com.
I mean, the graphics that you see for this show, canva.com, didn't pay for them. And I am not artistic, right?
I
I
made
am
my bio through
yeah,
canva.com.
my, my artistic ability is stick figures and throwing stuff at a wall and hoping something sticks, right? Like
Right.
there are ways to it. And I think the point there is, so obviously step one is presentation. You can differentiate
Right.
yourself by presentation,
Yes.
and
And title.
presentation doesn't have to cost a lot of money, right? And I think a lot
No.
of people waste a lot of money on presentation,
Right.
on like, it's like you buy a nice car and instead of fixing the engine, you're going to like put new seat protectors on it.
Right.
That's it. Why? Right. So presentation
Exactly.
step one. What else can they do?
Um do so I'm just trying to think of everything that like I like and don't like about channels.
Yeah.
It's really rough.
I
So
mean, you've
like
seen
when
a lot though.
I
You've seen a
know
lot of
I've seen a
channels.
lot of them. So like when I go into a channel, I join in and I mean I look at so many people's channels you wouldn't even believe it. So I'll go in, I click in there and I sit there for just a few minutes. I just want to see how long does it take you to talk? Okay, that's the biggest thing. How long
Yeah.
does it take to talk?
Yeah.
Do you look at chat often?
Yeah.
And then is your camera quality good when you run in the game? Does it get pixelated? So that's
Yeah.
4 things I
They're
already am
so
looking for.
simple. So
So
simple.
simple, right?
Right.
Now, do you call me out from a lurk? If you call me out from a lurk or you have a bot that automatically calls me out, I'm out.
Say that
I'm
one
not
more
getting a
time
host.
with a little pause before, because I'm definitely going to clip this for other videos.
Okay.
Say what you just
So
said one more time. It's
yeah,
important.
it is important. If you end up calling someone out from a lurk and whether it's publicly in the chat or a whisper lurk, I will leave the chat. Like there is no need for it at all
Why? Why does that bother you so much? I know
because
why, but I want you to say it.
right. Okay. So as me personally, when I join a chat, I'm on the front page every single day. I'm always number 1 or top 5 viewed person on every game I play. And when I go into a chat, I literally just want to watch you play.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
call me out from a lurk, you know what's going to turn into your chat? Hi Pink. Hi Pink. How was your stream earlier? How are you? Hi Pink. Can I get a follow? Oh my god,
Right.
Pink's in here. Did you
Right.
guys see that Pink was in here? And it's like now I just sucked everything out of that streamer. Everything that that streamer had going for them at that moment.
Yep.
Nope, just throw it away
Yep.
because it's about me now.
Because they
Like
went
ding
straight
ding ding.
fanboy or
Yeah.
fangirl and completely lost sight of what they were doing. Right.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
the streamer gets mad because now it's like self promotion, but I didn't do anything. I just wanted to say hello, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, come on. So literally, like, don't call people out from lurks because it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's like a
Yeah.
99% guarantee I will never come back in your fucking chat.
Well,
Like
you're
you
leaving and you're not
blacklisted.
coming back. And I think
Yeah.
people need to understand too, it's like you're putting on a show, you're creating content,
Yeah.
right? Whether allow people, why would you, of all the ways that people can then consume your content,
Mhm.
why would you ever limit the, like, take something off the table, especially if you're trying to get started? Why would you
Right.
ever take something off the table and say, well, I don't like them lurkers, man. They're the worst. Well, you've
Right.
just eliminated a stream of viewership. that's
Or
coming, and you need as many of those as you can get.
right, or people that say, "I don't like it when other people spam 50 embers in the chat. Why don't they just drop them all?" Like, I'm sorry, but they all spend the same once they hit your
Yeah,
account.
last I
So
checked,
it
cash
doesn't
spends the
matter.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it all spends the same.
yeah. What
So
color are those? Pink?
what?
What color are the embers?
Yeah, they're pink.
They're
Yeah.
pink. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all the gems spend the same,
All the
right?
gems, they all
Yeah,
spend the same. And so
yeah.
it's like, it's really irritating. And I mean, it's literally, we were just talking about it in my stream the other day on why I don't go into big streamers chats. Like, and I
Because
don't talk to
it's like
them.
they get like territorial
They are
about
so
it. That's
territorial. And it sucks because like if someone comes into my chat and they're a big partner, now, my mods do not automatically shout out because some partners don't want shout outs, like literally at
yeah,
all. They come in, they will whisper me and say, "Hey, I don't want a shout out." And I'll be
yeah,
like, "Can you please whisper message one of my mods?"
yeah,
And
yeah,
my mod will message my other mods and they will not shout out at all.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's fine because
I
I don't want shout outs when I go into other people's chats. Sometimes I
yeah,
just like going in there and just bullshit talking.
yep,
And I hate, like, I won't go into people's chats after a while just so they have a break from me.
right,
And
right.
like that's sad because there's so many people I support, but I don't want them to feel like, oh, well, I end up having 20 more viewers this week. So here's
Yeah,
pink, you know,
yeah,
like, no, I'm just gonna like give you your space and you do
yeah,
you. Like I'm over here
yeah.
chilling, you know?
There's a bigger conversation there that we just don't have time to get into
Right.
today, is the mindset of the industry at times, and
Yeah.
the how they view competition. There's a big flaw there, right?
Right.
And I'll just leave it at this. I've made my businesses of some of the most successful things that I've done for my business has been working with a direct competitor,
Right.
right? But we don't look at it that way, right? It's this mindset of like, well, the more she has, the less that I have, and I don't like that. That doesn't make me happy, right? It's like, well, you're not playing the long-term game here, right? But again,
Exactly.
so yeah, that was fantastic. So every single show, we are going to end with these 4 questions. We're going to call them the final 4. They are questions that I've put a lot of thought into. They're meant to challenge the streamer, and they're meant to provide insights in maybe a variety of different ways that either we did get to in the stream or we may have not gotten to this point. You ready, Pink?
Sure.
All right. So question number 1 of final 4. And so again, every guest that we have, if you're planning on coming on here, you got to answer these 4 questions. If you could go back and change one decision you've made in your streaming career, what would it be and why?
I would probably talk less shit during competitions. Why? Because
Okay.
I made a lot of enemies,
Yep.
like a
Yeah.
lot of enemies way
Yeah.
too soon.
Yeah.
That's probably one big thing that I would do because now one of the enemies that I did make is a partnered streamer now, and
Yep.
we finally fixed it. But
Yeah.
it took us 10 years of
Yep.
constant fighting
And
and like memes and
yeah.
gifs and like
Yeah.
big Twitter battles.
And the fact of the matter is that doesn't do either business good,
Nope,
right? I
it
mean,
doesn't.
something that can make a business the least profitable
Right.
is conflict with another business in their space, right?
Exactly.
Because for all the energy that you spent getting
Uh-huh.
back, right, retorting,
Hmm.
coming
Yep.
up with the next big meme, you took away from designing your stream, working on
Yep.
your business, getting your stuff in order. Okay, very good.
Exactly.
Next question. If you were to restart your stream tomorrow from scratch, what is the first thing that you would do?
Create graphic designs and better merch.
Merch. Yeah. So handmade created graphic designs, not paid for them. Why do you say that?
Um,
Why graphic designs and merch right away?
Graphic designs and like animation can really make a channel.
Yes.
I would
True.
also add to that learning API and
And
like
API
coding.
stands for the dunces such as myself
Oh,
means.
so it's just like the coding base underneath your website. So like
Okay.
things that can make your mix play board and your dev lab, it would make it like pulsate every time you get an ember. It would be able to make things fly across your screen that other
Wow.
streamers cannot possibly get because they don't know HTML, CSS coding, and API settings.
Yeah.
So
You used a
that's
lot
like
of digits,
really
acronyms there.
that's yeah,
That was a
that's like a
lot.
lot. That's like a lot of
Yeah.
smart techie stuff that I don't know how to do, but
Right.
that's like really huge. And I've actually been straight Googling it for the past 3
Yeah.
days on how to code.
And I think the lesson there is too, is if you don't know, right, spend some time to learn. And
Yeah.
this goes back to a really basic just principle about when you start a business, is that especially early on, excuse me, especially early on, when you start a business, you should be spending almost more time working on your business than you
Yeah.
do working in your business. You
Yes.
should be learning the coding. You should be doing the graphic design, right? Because
Mhm.
that's going to make the hours that you do go live or stream or that actually work in your business that much more effective. But I think that's a point that people need to get, is spend more time, especially early on, working on your business than working in it.
And people really like everything to be so interactive. Mixer is based around interaction.
Yeah,
Like you can
that's a
see
good tip.
big people come to Mixer and they don't make it because they don't look at chat.
Yep.
And so it's like one big thing that I've always wanted to do is implement it where I have sub of the day in my chat. Every day it's supposed to be a different sub. And when you purchase this invisible sub, you get to build a sub. Now, I have always
Oh,
wanted to
cool.
create it where if you bought a sub, my API coding would pop up on your phone or on your Xbox, and you could pick literally your bread, your meat. You could pick everything, whether it was like your meat was a bag of dicks. Like it could be literally anything we could possibly think
Imagine the
of.
graphic. But go
I
on.
know, right? But then it would pop up on my screen of what you're making for your
Right.
sub sandwich every single day. And I think that
Right.
would be awesome. But that's so much coding and I don't know how to do it. And I
Yeah.
think that if I could go back, I would learn and
Right
do
away.
all of that
Yeah.
before I
Like it.
ever. Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Number 3. If you had the power to change one thing about the streaming industry, what would it be?
Probably nothing.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't change anything because once you figure it out and you've
Yeah.
already built a community, then it's just gravy from there.
Right. It's the learning curve.
It's literally
Yeah.
just like the learning curve. Like I wouldn't even trade like the titty streamers, the girls who dance on stream for subscribers, the
Right.
guys who like show all their tattoos and like lift weights or they flex every time they get a fucking kill. I
Right.
wouldn't trade any of that because one, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
that sets
Yeah, that's
me
an interesting
aside.
take on it. It's like, yeah, let them keep doing that. I'm going to keep
Yeah,
doing me,
you
and
guys keep sucking over
my
there.
edge is going to come from that. Okay.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one.
Okay.
Number 4. What do you think sets apart successful streamers from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
They didn't have the right support that a successful streamer has.
So who you surround
They
yourself with.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
have the motivation. They didn't have like whether they were in a relationship
Hmm.
and their partner, every time they booted up and went live, oh, well, you're not spending time with me.
Yeah.
Like why isn't your partner in your chat
Yeah.
spending time with you? Like, and even offline, like
Yeah.
why aren't they helping you edit or trying to learn different things or giving you ideas? Like
Right.
there's so many different things that could help you be so much better.
Yeah.
And a lot of people give up that because of things in their personal life that they actually can't fix because they don't want to lose their routine.
Right.
And I feel like that's another big thing about streaming is if you can't guarantee your viewers a routine and be
Yep.
part of their everyday life,
Yep.
you won't make it
Yep.
because you can't just boot up one night and be like, I'm going to stream for 16 hours and then
Yeah.
not stream again for 3 weeks
Yeah.
and then come back and start streaming every day at
Yeah.
random times because
Yeah.
that's not going to work. And I've told in my channel to all of my viewers that I show up every single day as if it's my job, but I am part of their routine. Like I am theirs.
Yeah. I mean, you are my morning cup of coffee right
Yeah.
before I start taking clients in the morning, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
and I'm there every single morning on
Yep.
time every day. 8 o'clock, my intro is already rolling and
Yeah.
everybody already knows that. So if they're having a good day, a bad day, whatever, they know I'm there from 8 until
Yeah.
about 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And that never changes.